Hey guys, this is Coach Gaglione here. This is another edition of our Gags Goals Update. This is my Road to 198 series. If this is your first time stopping by, I'm Coach Gaglione. This is Gaglione Strength. This is chronicling my weight loss journey. I've been as heavy as 340 pounds, under 230 pounds on this particular day. And just kind of wanted to chronicle my journey to help you guys learn a little bit about balancing health and performance, being strong, and also for especially the bigger guys out there that want to get leaner and still incorporate powerlifting and strength training into their lifestyle. Before I kind of recap my training, and again, this is if this is for your first time stopping by, I'm kind of chronicling my weight loss journey, but also up until my meet preparation to my next contest, which will be in November, which I plan on competing in the 198 class, which is actually the first weight class when I started. I've competed every weight class from super heavyweight down to 198. I want to kind of I think reflection is really important, especially when you have those long-term goals. It's good to kind of sit back and see like how far you've come, because it can be really easy to get kind of stale and stagnant. I know for this past year in particular, I've been it feels like I'm moving at a snail's pace, but I'm really doing a good job of maintaining and my body weight and improving my health, and improving my leanness. This is probably the healthiest and the best of my diet, my nutrition, and just how I feel day to day has been. So I just want to kind of start off with that. A little quick aside, a quick story my business coach kind of told me is that you want to kind of attack life kind of like a shark. And this is why I think goal setting is so important, and reflections and just kind of working towards something, working toward a goal is so important, because it can be really easy to get complacent and stagnant. And basically there's that old saying like, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And there's definitely some truth to that. And when it comes to sharks, a shark needs to continue to keep swimming forward, or else it actually will die. It cannot stand still. And that's kind of like how you should look at your goals and look at your progress. You always want to be trying to move toward your goal. There's going to be times where you smell blood in the water when you're close to a contest or close to like a deadline. And that's when you want to really be aggressive and be super on point with your training. If you don't have a contest coming up, or maybe you've made a lot of progress and you just kind of quote unquote need a little bit of a break, you're still circling and you're still swimming, but you're not completely standing still. Because what ends up happening is if you get too complacent, you stop working toward your goals completely, it can be very easy. It's a slippery slope. It's easy to fall backwards. So I think that's really important, that you're always trying to move forward. The pacing is going to be different depending on if you have a contest coming up or if you've made a lot of progress, etc. So you always got to be trying to move forward, always trying to improve. Just the pacing is going to be different. So I think that shark analogy is really good. If you're not swimming forward, if you're standing still, you're going to die. So you always got to be trying to move forward, think like the shark. So today I kind of dug up some old in-body results. So I'm going to have kind of Elvis maybe kind of zoom in on these. I'm going to send him a picture so you guys can see it for a couple seconds and kind of look at the data. For those that don't know, kind of a little bit of a, excuse my French, a little bit of an asshole purchase on my part, but I think it's a really good tool. It's like a $6,000 scale. It's probably like the next best thing you could do besides getting like hydrostatic weighing or a DEXA scan. So if your gym has one, I think it's a great tool to use, especially if you're kind of measuring data on like a weekly or like a monthly basis. You can actually kind of trend your progress over time. There's definitely some room for error, especially if you're not hydrated and things like that. You're not positioning your feet on the platform as well. But it uses electrical impedance. So through electricity, it'll kind of measure how much muscle mass you have, how much fat mass you have, and how much water weight you have. Depending on the model you have, it can also check things like visceral fat and things like that. It could give us an idea of body fat percentage. So the numbers that I'm really concerned with, the numbers that I look at the most, weight is obviously important, but I look at my dry lean mass, which essentially is my muscle tissue, more or less, give or take, and then my fat mass. So one of my goals, I want to see my fat mass trending down, and I want to see my muscle mass maintaining. So like if I could, we all like, yeah, I want to lose muscle, I want to lose fat and build muscle. My main goal right now is fat loss, and of course I would love to build some muscle as well, but that's like not my muscle maintenance, and fat loss is probably a more realistic goal. And they kind of say you can't serve two masters, so that's kind of some of the things I'm looking at. So I want to give you guys some of the data. So these were about 3 years apart. This weigh-in, the first weigh-in was 333 pounds. This was August 25th, 2016, so about 3 years prior. And then today is July, at the time of this taping, is July 25th. 2019, so about three years later, and I weighed 227.8. So the weight difference is about 106 pounds, so I've been steadily kind of down at least over 100 pounds, which is excellent. I thought this was very interesting. Water weight difference was about 12 pounds, and this has been, since I've been lighter, I've been carrying less water. So I'm just speculating here, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that my inflammation is down. I'm guessing I'm not being as bloated or retaining as much water. So I think that's an interesting marker. Now, in a short-term basis, I think this could also show if you're dehydrated. But I think in a long-term basis, I think that in general, if we're retaining a little bit less water, and like we're having less joint pain and inflammation, I think that could be a positive indicator as well. So I think the 12 pounds of water weight is I thought that was very interesting. Again, I'm just kind of speculating here, but I thought that was interesting to note. The muscle difference was 3 pounds. So that's not necessarily a positive thing, but to be honest, the fact that I only lost 3 pounds of muscle out of 106 pounds of weight, I think that's pretty darn good. So I'm very happy with that. So what that tells me is that I lost the weight at a good pace, and the majority of the weight loss was fat loss. The fat difference was 90 pounds. So, nearly 90% of my weight loss came from losing body fat. So that's excellent. I think this is also why I don't have a lot of loose skin. If you've seen like before and after pictures, actually it reminds me I need to start. That's a habit I got to start getting into again. If I haven't really been doing that. So the fat difference, so the fact that I've lost the weight slowly, the fact that it's mostly been body fat that I've lost and not muscle. So using an in-body, I think it's really important for those that want to lose weight, that we're actually trying to measure through something like an in-body, measuring your waist, measuring your arms, measuring your legs, things like that. So make sure your waist is going down, make sure your arms and legs are maintaining the best they can. Something like an in-body or a DEXA scan, you could look up something like a company like DEXA Fit. If you're local to Gathering Your Own Strength, we could set up nutrition consultations. Nutrition consultations include an in-body measurement, so you could certainly set something up with us. And there's other gyms that have in-bodies as well that you could look into. So really important that you get something accurate like an in-body. It's a really great tool. The fact that, like I said, I've lost almost about 90% of the weight loss has been fat loss. It's a really good sign. And it's a good sign that I'm doing it in a healthy way and sustainable way. Body fat difference was 20%, which is pretty crazy. I went from about 40% to 20%. So is 20% still kind of high? Absolutely. So even though you may not think so, I could still call myself my chubby little self until I get down to what's kind of considered healthy for a man is like under 20. So my end goal is like about somewhere, I want to sit between 15 to 17. My thought process is if I get down to 15%, and I kind of once I kind of get back to 17%, that's kind of a little bit of a red flag or an alarm that I got to diet a little bit. I can kind of go back and forth. So my end goal is to lose about 5% of body fat and then just kind of sit between 15 to 17%, so I have a cushion and I can kind of stay in that healthy range for a man. And usually a healthy range for a man is somewhere between, 10 is on the low end, but again, I'm not trying to like get on a stage or anything, at least for now. Never say never, right? But I'd like to get to 15%. So that's kind of like the end goal as far as what I want my body fat to be before I start to try to add lean tissue back on. And the time difference, like I mentioned before, was 3 years. So I think it's really important that we take like a tortoise approach versus the hare. The hare is always going to have a better start. The hare is going to be flashy. The hare is going to come out of the gate swinging. It's going to come out of the gate explosive. But the hare burns out. The hare is going to get injuries. The hare is going to have setbacks. You do need consistency and intensity to a point, but consistency in the long haul always wins. Consistency will beat intensity every time, especially the longer time passes. In the short term, intensity is going to win and the hare is going to win. But the longer that race goes on, the longer you live, consistency is always going to trump intensity. You see this all the time in powerlifting, you see this all the time in sports. You get people like they're a flash in the pan, they have 1 or 2 good meets, and then you don't hear from them again. This is incredibly important for weight loss. This is not to pick on any particular show or method, but like Biggest Loser is a great example. All the contestants always put their weight back on. It's like a huge, and sometimes even more than when they started. It's a really quick process. They starve them, they train them, they have this perfect scenario, and they get put back in the real world, all the weight comes back on and then some. It is not a sustainable process. There is no consistency there. There's plenty of intensity, but there's no consistency. There's no sustainability. There's no lifestyle change. You have to focus on your habits. So be the tortoise, not the hare. Even if the hare is really cute and flashy and awesome, the tortoise is going to win. So that's my message for you guys today. I thought that was really interesting. Again, I said this in the last podcast. I want to lose weight fast like you. It's not going to happen. You got to be patient. You got to realize, I understand it's not as cool as 6-minute abs and lose 10 pounds in 10 days and all this stuff, but if it took you 5 years to put the weight on or 10 years to put the weight on, it's probably going to take you 5 or 10 years to get the weight off. And that's kind of a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but that's the truth. And I think a lot of people need to hear the truth. And it's going to be hard, and for me, it's a fight every single day. But you got to learn to love the process. You got to learn to just roll with the punches and just be objective and realistic about these things. Not to be pessimistic, but just be realistic. Okay, so that's enough. I'm getting off my soapbox now. We're going to go into the more fun stuff. We didn't have too much videos for the last 2 weeks, again, because Elvis just competed, our team just competed. I'm kind of doing fluff stuff. But one of the things I want to talk about today is the stuff that you don't see on the gram. The stuff that you don't see on the gram, the stuff that doesn't make the highlight reel, the glute ham raises, the planks, the mobility work, the sleeping 7.5 to 9 hours a night, the getting your body weight and protein in, getting 3 liters or 4 liters of water a day. That's the stuff that really makes you better. What we see on Instagram a lot of times is the highlight reel. We see the PR squat, we see the PR deadlift, we see the heavy single, we see the reverse band single, we see the slingshot work. We see all this really heavy stuff or really impressive stuff. That is the performance, but it's not necessarily the building phase, and that's not the stuff that actually gets you there. So one of the things that we wanted to highlight today, and one of the reasons why I started this series up a little bit earlier, is to kind of show you some of the quote-unquote boring stuff. The boring stuff is actually what gets you results. You want to do those simple things to happen really well. So some of the things that I'm working on right now, and I mentioned before, is I'm doing a lot of beltless work. I'm doing a lot of safety squat bar work to make the things harder. We're using the concept called underloading. So we're picking exercises that it forces you to use less weight, but you still get a great muscular stimulus. I'm doing deficit conventional deadlifts without a belt. I'm doing the belt squat good mornings and the belt squat tempo squats. Those are awful. Oh my God. And a lot of dumbbell work with benching for slow eccentric. So the slow eccentric is really good because it really forces you to have more time under tension. It's going to practice your groove, practice the lowering phase. We did the sumo stiff-legged deadlifts with a slow eccentric. Oh my God, my hamstrings are on fire still. So all those exercises are really great for patterning the movement, getting more time under tension, underloading your body so you're getting a great muscular stimulus without having to add a lot of weight. So I'll just kind of recap the week a little bit, and we'll show some clips of the training. So on Sunday, it was a really hot day. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to be able to lift because I had heat exhaustion, and Elvis had to drive my car back to my apartment. So that was rough. So I elected to modify the workout a bit. I was supposed to do sets of 5. I ended up doing 3 sets of 3 instead, and I kept the weights very modest. I worked up to a top set of 395, I think 395, somewhere around the 400-pound range. On the safety squat bar, I did a safety squat bar beltless with heels. And then I did some tempo belt squats with Brandon Horn. That was fun. We both ended up having our shirts off, and it was really hot, but we got through it. So we did those quick, fast, and in a hurry. Did some sets of 8s on the tempo squat. So we did a 5-count eccentric. So the lowering phase, that was a quad killer. I noticed that my heels were coming up a little bit, so I did got to work on my ankle mobility probably a little bit so I could do the close stance work a little bit more effectively. And I'm probably going to need to turn my toes out a little bit more, so you'll see in the video. On the bench day, I did some duffel bar work. I've been doing my my raw bench work, at least for the last 2 weeks, without a handoff, just to make it a little bit harder and kind of keep myself in check. And I'm going to add the handoffs back in next week. So I did some triples on the duffel bar this week. I did around 235, 240, which is nothing earth-shattering, but my shoulder's getting better. And for those that don't know, the duffel bar is an extended range of motion. So it's almost like a deficit bench in a way. Then I did some spoto presses with my feet up, with a close grip, with the duffel bar. And I've been getting stronger in the seal row. So we're going to show a video of that. The seal row is an excellent way to take your lower back out of the equation and really work on the upper back and lats. So what I'm really trying to do is trying to row toward my stomach. And that's what's going to allow me to do to keep almost like a reverse bench groove. And I'm going to keep that vertical forearm in the bottom. And I'm going to try to drive the barbell into the top of the bench so I really get a good range of motion. And we're working on that static. You're not going to probably be able to do it when it's heavy, but you want to try to pause it at the top so you're getting that full contraction of the upper back and the lats. We're working on that pinch and tuck position, so to help our scapular position on the bench. So I worked up to 180 pounds, which I believe is a PR for me, at least this cycle, because I haven't really tracked. That's not a movement I've tracked in the past, but I'm going to try to, with the advice of actually Josh Bryant. Josh Bryant was saying getting, I want to say Julius Maddox. I apologize if I pronounced his name wrong. So Julius Maddox, he's second all time, I believe. He's got an American record bench. He just barely missed 740, really impressive. I think he benched like 728 in competition. And I know Josh said that he was doing steel rolls with about 350 pounds, so with a 2-second pause at the top. So that kind of intrigued me, and so I think I got to build up my upper back a little bit more on the bench. So we're going to implement the steel rows as advice from Josh Bryant. So we're going to start to track the strength on those. Did some accessory work for the upper and lower body as well, and then on the deadlift day, as you know, or you may not know, I have a secret rivalry with my friend Pete and training partner Pete. He doesn't. I don't think he's aware of the rivalry as much as I am. But Pete's an excellent deadlifter. He's deadlifted over 600 pounds raw in competition. So I like to kind of have a little friendly competition with him when we're doing volume work. Yeah. So today we did some deficit deadlifts off a 1.5 inch block. We did these with a stiff bar, and we did these conventional. So we did some sets of 5. We worked up to a top set. He did 405 on this particular day. We also worked out with some other guys, the Volkswagen Beetle and Mike and Elvis, all were kind of tagging along. So he did a set of 5 at 405, and then I did 435 for a set of 8, which felt really comfortable. It was tough, but a strong set. My PR on a deadlift bar with a deficit deadlift for this particular year was 455 for 8, so the fact I did 435 for 8 on a stiff bar, after doing volume work, that was really good. So I was really happy with that. It's the most I've done on a stiff bar in a long time. Again, nothing earth-shattering, but my back is getting stronger, my starting position is getting better. And I know as my conventional gets better, my sumo will follow suit. So I'm really excited about that. Then we followed up with some sumo stiff-legged deadlifts, which everyone was crying for. We did those with a slow eccentric, a couple of sets of 10 there. I worked up to my top set, that was 295, sumo stiff-legged. I like to do those with my feet pointed straight just to kind of change my pattern a little bit so I don't confuse the stiff-legged with the normal sumo. And then finished off with the belt squat good morning, which has been a favorite of mine, using the spud harness with that. I did 2 sets of 16 reps, and the reason I did 16 reps, I did 8 reps conventional and 8 reps sumo good morning. So I did 8 and 8, and I used a 275 bar weight, just assuming the frame is about 45, so about 275 on the bar. And that's all she wrote for today. So next week, the belt comes back. I'm really excited for that. We're putting the belt back on. I'm getting my spud briefs back on. We're going to put some gear on. I'm going to use the slanger. I'm going to use the bench freak band. I'm really excited to throw some weight around. And then in week 4, I'm going to get some full equipment. So I'm going to work some openers. I'm going to try out some openers, and that's going to be exciting. So I'm excited to get back in the equipment. My beltless cycle is officially over. So I'm very happy about that, but it's always good, especially if, no matter if you're an equipped lifter, a raw lifter, or a raw with wraps lifter, it's good to go through periods of time of underloading where you can use less weight and still get a great muscular stimulus. And when you put that equipment back on, or use variations like a low bar squat or a wide grip bench with a high arch, sumo deadlift, etc., there's a lot of exercises that are really good at expressing your strength, but don't forget to do the exercises that build your strength as well. The high bar squats, if you are able to front squat, if you're able to do a close grip bench with your feet up, stiff leg deadlifts and deficit deadlifts. The humbling exercises are the ones that you're going to challenge you, and what doesn't challenge you is not going to change you. So I think that's it for today. If you guys want to support the program, check out the links below. If you haven't checked out my newest book, it just came out this month, Are You Ready to Compete? You can check that out on Amazon.com. You can search John Gaglione as the author. That's me. So definitely support the program. You can buy a book. You can check out our programming if you want to support the program and the future building of these YouTube videos. Really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe for future videos. And thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.